Hi, hello, good evening. Welcome back to the lecture series on international business dynamics. So, session, in this session, we are going to understand balance of payment and equilibrium and disequilibrium of balance of payment, and what are the measures to be taken in order to check the disequilibrium position in the balance of payment and other aspects. Okay, balance of payment balance of payment concept is an important question. Most of the question paper we could able to see the questions on this topic. So now let's begin to understand the basic concepts of balance of payment. BOP accounts are an accounting record of all monetary transactions between a country and the rest of the world. So these transactions include payments for the country's exports and imports of the goods and services, financial capital, and financial transfers. And there are three items which are there in the balance of payment. So, number one, visible items which constitute the physical goods which are exported and imported and its value. The second, invisible items including those services which are exported and imported and not visible. For example, transportation service, medical service, consultancy service, teaching service, okay, and capital transfers which are concerned with the capital receipts and capital payment. And now let's understand what is the balance of payment according to Kindleberger. The balance of payments of a country is a systematic record of all economic transactions between the residents of the reporting country and residents of foreign countries during a given period of time. Now, what are the components of the balance of payment? Number one, current account balance. BOP on current account is a statement of actual receipts for the exports and payments in short period of time. It includes the value of export and imports of both visible and invisible goods will be taken into consideration. So they can be either surplus or deficit in the current account. It includes export and import of services, interests, profits, dividends, and unilateral receipts and payments from or to abroad. And second is capital account balance. Capital account balance is the difference between the receipts and payments on account of capital account. It refers to all financial transactions. The capital account involves inflow and outflow relating to investments, short term borrowings and lendings, and medium term to the long term borrowings and lendings. So they can be surplus and deficit in the capital account. So in this capital account, it includes private foreign loan flow, movement in banking capital, official capital transactions, reserves, gold movement, etc. Third, Overall balance of payment. Total of a country's current and capital account is reflected in overall BOP. It includes errors and omissions and official reserves transactions. The errors may be due to statistical depreciation, discrepancies, and omission may be due to certain transactions may not be recorded. For example, a remittance by an Indian working abroad to India may not yet recorded, or a payment of dividend abroad by an MNC operating in India may not yet recorded, and so on. The errors and omissions account equals to the amount necessary to balance both the sides. So now there are three positions in the balance of payment. One is we do find the balanced balance of payment. Equilibrium is nothing but balanced balance of payment, or disequilibrium in the balance of payment, or deficit in the balance of payment. So when there is equilibrium in the balance of payment shows both exports and imports values are equal. There is equilibrium. It is good for the country. Surplus balance of payment. So we have not yet achieved the surplus balance of payment. The value of exports are greater than the value of imports. That leads to surplus balance of payment. Now disequilibrium in the sense it is deficit. The value of imports are greater than the value of exports. So there created disequilibrium in our balance of payment position. And now let us understand what are the reasons for it. Why the balance of payment is disequilibrium or deficit. So number of reasons are there, like natural causes like floods, earthquakes. So due to these natural calamities, production is not happening even in agriculture, industry or service or manufacturing, any sector. So that might be the reason. Due to these reasons, the export might be decreases. So therefore, there will be disequilibrium could be established in the balance of payment. Economic causes. So economic fluctuations, inflation, demonetization effects, all those things might be the reasons why there is a disequilibrium in our balance of payment position. Political causes. It might be international relations are not congenial, not good. So because lots of goods and services which are exported, imported between India and China. So due to the international relation problem that created in the recent years, in the recent days, that led to the import of Chinese commodities, import of electronic goods from China, that leads to more payment from the country like India. Political instability, social factors like change in the taste and preference of the customers, that may not be happening overnight. So it takes time. It is long-term process. Okay. So these are the reasons. These are the reasons why the disequilibrium will be created in the country's balance of payment. The very important is how to correct the disequilibrium positions. How to check. Okay. What are the steps to be taken in order to maintain the balance in the balance of payment position. So there are two measures to be undertaken in order to correct the disequilibrium in the balance of payment position: monetary measures and non-monetary measures. So let's move on to the monetary measures. Deflation, first one. Deflation means falling prices. It has been used as a measure to correct disequilibrium in the balance of payment. A country faces deficit when its imports exceeds the exports, right? Okay. Deflation is brought through monetary measures like bank rate policy, open market operations, etc., or through fiscal measures like higher taxation, reduction in public expenditure, etc. Okay, deflation would make our items cheaper in foreign markets. That results there will be increase in the country's exports. At the same time, the demand for imports fall due to the higher taxation and reduced income. So this would build a favorable atmosphere in the balance of payment position. However, deflation can be successful only when the exchange rate remains fixed. Okay, so otherwise there is no use of deflation. Number 2, exchange depreciation. It means decline in the rate of exchange of domestic currency in terms of the foreign currency. So this device implies that a country has adopted the flexible exchange rate policy. Suppose rate of exchange between India and US per dollar is rupee 40. Just imagine if India experiences an adverse balance of payment, in order to overcome from this position with regard to US currency, the Indian demand for US dollar will increase due to the exchange depreciation. That means the price of dollar in terms of rupee will rise. The value of the dollar in front of the rupee will rise. Hence, dollar will be appreciated, dollar value will be increased, external value of the dollar will be increased, rupee value will be depreciated, external value of the rupee will be reduced because of the exchange depreciation. The new rate of exchange might be 50 rupees per dollar. This means that 25 rupee exchange depreciation has been done. External value of American dollar increases and external value of Indian currency will be going down due to the exchange depreciation. Then the Americans are purchasing more and more goods from India. Those exports from India increases. Okay, so this is another important measure, monetary measure to be taken in order to check disequilibrium position. Another one, devaluation. Deliberately, okay, so deliberately bring down the value of home currency against the foreign currency. When devaluation is affected, the value of home currency goes down against the foreign currency. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, exchange rate remains 10 rupees per dollar before devaluation. So let's suppose after the devaluation, exchange rate of Indian currency with that of US dollar becomes 20 rupees. After such a change, our goods becomes cheap in the international market. So thus, European people or US people will be importing the goods from us. So that leads to the correction in the balance of payment position. So these are the monetary measures. One is deflation, exchange depreciation, okay, exchange rate depreciation, devaluation, and These are the four measures. Number two, basically, there are certain non-monetary measures are also being taken in order to increase the exports. Number one, so these measures could be followed by the government of India. So therefore, we could able to see the favorable position in the balance India's balance of payment position. Export promotion. Number one, the government can adapt export promotion measures to correct disequilibrium in the balance of payments. So this includes tax concessions to exporters. Market facilities would be provided for the exporting the goods from India. Credit and incentives to exporters, etc. The government may also help to promote exports through exhibitions or being organized in the foreign land, through which Indian exporters will be exhibiting their goods at the international market, and thereby so they get the demands. Organizing the trade fairs, conducting the marketing research, and outcomes of the research will be provided to the exporters. Okay, and by providing the required administrative and diplomatic help to tap the potential markets at the international level. So these are the ways how the export is being promoted with the effort of the government, and thus exports increases, and that leads to good India's position in the BOP. Quotas. Number two, under this system, the government may fix and permit the maximum quantity or maximum value of the commodities to be imported during a given period of time. Okay, certain limit is being fixed. Okay, the quantity is being fixed. So only this much quantity of goods or this much valued goods must be imported. By restricting the imports through the quotas, the deficit in our BOP is reduces, and the position of BOP is being improved. Number three, tariffs. So tariffs are duties imposed on imports. The taxes imposed on the goods imported from the foreign countries by an Indians. When the tariffs are imposed, then the imported goods will be costly. So then the consumption of imported goods will be reduced within the nation. Okay, so this is the way how non-monetary measures will help the government to tackle the disequilibrium position in the balance of payment. So now let's begin to understand balance of trade. It is known as the trade balance, or it refers to the difference between the monetary value of a country's imports and exports over a given period of time. A positive trade balance indicates trade surplus, while negative trade balance indicates the deficit in the BOT. The BOT is an important component in determining the country's current account. Debit items includes imports, foreign aid, domestic spending abroad, and domestic investment abroad. All these things comes under the debit side in the BOT. Credit items in the BOT includes exports, foreign spending in domestic economy, and foreign investments in domestic economy. The exports are greater than the imports, then the BOT will be favorable, and its imports are greater than the exports, then in BOT we could able to see unfavorable condition. Okay, so now let's understand in brief between the differences between the BOP and BOT. BOP is a broad concept, BOT is a narrow term. BOP includes all transactions related to visible, invisible, capital transfers, all the things. But BOT includes only visible items. So third difference, BOP always balances itself. but it can be BOT can be favorable or unfavorable, not it cannot be balanced itself. Fourth, BOP is equal to current account plus capital account plus or minus balancing items, errors and omissions. Okay, and BOT, net earnings on exports minus net payments for imports. Okay, fifth difference. So these are the main factors which affects the BOP conditions in the foreign lenders, economic policy of the government. All the factors of BOT is also responsible for the BOP condition. The following are the main factors which affects the BOT. Number one, cost of production, availability of raw material, exchange rate, prices of goods manufactured at home. Okay, so this is what the differences between these two. And now, so very important, the term, very important, the concept we need to understand very clearly in the international business, that is called Exim Bank. Export and Import Bank of India. It is a premier export finance institution set up in the year 1982 under the Export Import Bank of Act, Bank of India Act 1981. So policies of Exim Bank have been classified under three heads. One is loans to Indian company, loans to foreign company and foreign financial institutions, loans to commercial banks in the country. Okay, so the policy of the Exim Bank could be understood with the help of these broad concepts. So let's understand the loans to Indian companies in deferred payment exports. The term finance is provided to Indian exporters of eligible goods and services which enable them to offer deferred credit to overseas buyers. Deferred credit can also cover Indian consultancy, technology and other services. Commercial banks participate in this program directly or under risk syndication arrangements. Okay, risk syndication is nothing but the group of lenders and banks made an arrangement through which, so they are going to extend the long-term finance for the projects taken up by Indian person, Indian businessman. Okay, so this is known as the loan syndication or syndication of loan. Pre-shipment credit. The finance available from this apex institution for the export for companies executing export contracts involving cycle time exceeding the 6 months. Okay, the facility also enables the provision of the rupee mobilization expenses for construction, turnkey projects and exporters, turnkey exporters. Okay, so remaining the things, okay, that loans to the foreign companies and foreign institutions and loans to the commercial banks in the country in order to promote the exports. Okay, all those remaining concepts could be studied in the next class. Thank you very much for listening. See you then. Okay, have a good day. Bye.